Thank you, PJ. It is time for another edition of the Pair and a Spare podcast. I'm Justin Gaard from The Fan. We've got Ryan Burns from GopherIllustrated.com. And despite the snow, it looks like he's still in Minnesota. Chip Scoggins from the Minnesota Star Tribune and Football Across Minnesota. You're braving another snowstorm. We still don't have a snowblower, though, right? You're with
no
me.
snowblower.
No snowblower.
No,
not that we really need it yet.
No, we're blue collar, but this might be the one. This might be the winner.
We're blue collar. It's variant in Minnetonka, man.
It's to be determined at this point whether I see another winner after this one.
Wow. Well, will you do us a favor? Let Pair and a Spare break
I'll let you know
when you move. That's what we always tell people.
When you see the palm trees in my background, you'll know that.
Let us break the news. That's all we want. That's what I would always tell. I would tell Richard Pitino, like, just let me break the news when you A, get fired, or B, take the New Mexico job. He didn't like that. He didn't like that from me. I'm just going to say that right out of the gate. He didn't appreciate that, but that's all right. We got a lot to get to, so we may as well get right into it. A lot of controversy, a lot of talkability in the college football world, and I think we need to start with the college football playoff. We're going to talk about the Gophers going to the Rate Bowl the day after Christmas. They're taking on, speaking of Richard Pitino, New Mexico, the Lobos, because of some opt-outs from the Big 12 Conference. I'm going to go through every player on the Gophers roster and ask Burnsy to give me an update on if they're coming back or not, because I know he wants to go through his spreadsheet. We've got Matt Campbell to Penn State, and we've got an important football game this weekend that we're going to talk about as well. But I'll open the floor to you guys. What do you think the headline of the 12-team college football playoff reveal on Sunday is? What have you made of the reaction? Should people be as mad as they are about certain things? Burnsy, we'll start with you. The floor is yours. College football playoff, your thoughts.
I'm glad. I'm going to start with a positive here because we're a very positive podcast here. When I say I'm glad we're debating 10-2 teams and 9-3 teams and not just like a couple of years ago when Florida State got left out after an undefeated season. So I think it's a lot easier to do this, but I think let's throw it to the resident SEC expert here and say, Chip, Alabama being where they are and not being penalized for their loss as a 9-3 or what is it, 10-3? 10-3 team now?
Yeah, 10-3 now. Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Bama staying put at number 9?
Well, it's interesting. If we have a 16 team field, a 24 team field, in basketball you have a 68 team field, there's always people that complain about didn't get in. So no matter what the size, we're going to complain about it, right?
There's always a bubble. There's always a bubble.
No matter what the size.
If you're left out the bubble, you're going to be mad. Exactly right.
But I always say if you get left out of the basketball when it's 68 and you're screaming we deserve to be in, that's a you problem. That's not a tournament problem. Like this, okay, when you had 12. I didn't realize this until I've done a lot of reading since that part of the contract between ESPN and the college football playoff is that they have to do 6 of those shows, those reveal shows. And you're just opening yourself up for criticism and second guessing and about facing and all these things that have come into play. If you just had one and said, here it is, we wouldn't have this because you wouldn't know that they had Notre Dame ranked ahead of Miami by a lot early on, and then it shrunk until it didn't. You wouldn't know that. And so I think from Miami's perspective, that's caused that. I know there's a lot of talk about having 5 SEC teams in there. And, oh, by the way, ESPN and SEC, their arrangement. With Alabama, and you don't drop Alabama when they get destroyed by Georgia, but you drop BYU when they get destroyed by Texas Tech. So there's some hypocrisy there. But I do think if you're talking about Alabama, Notre Dame, and you can make the argument for Notre Dame, just surely, but I think strength of schedule matters. It does. And I look at Alabama, I think they're 6th in strength of schedule. They have a bad loss, Florida State. Can't dispute that. But they had a stretch where they went at Georgia and won, home against a ranked Missouri team and won. Was it at Vandy, a ranked Vandy team and won, home against
Vandy,
Tennessee.
Away at Missouri.
and home against Tennessee, which was, I think, 11th at the time, and won. They had a 4-game streak. So their strength of schedule is 6th. Notre Dame's was 44th. I mean, they played Purdue, Stanford, Syracuse, Boston College. These teams are 3 wins, 4 wins. So I think that's where it came into play. And then when they backed them up against Miami, and them and Notre Dame and Miami have basically identical resumes, they went head to head. So, but there is hypocrisy that they don't move, BYU moves. But I think this whole thing is because ESPN wants to have a weekly dialogue and conversation about, this team's getting, screwed. This team's left out. They want this weekly reveal. That committee is being subjected to, hey, now wait a second. Wait, you're dropping Notre Dame when they didn't lose. Why did you do that? And for us, it's indefensible.
Well, they didn't play.
They didn't play.
Yeah.
They not only didn't lose, they didn't play. So
Miami
it's hard
didn't play, and they got in.
So it's that is the root of the problem to me.
Yeah, this committee, man. And Chip, you laid it out, and I don't know that I have a ton further to add, but when you do these shows every week, and then you wait until the final week to flip-flop those 2 teams, what was the point of what people should never watch one of these shows ever again at that point? Because what was the point?
Let me ask you this about the playoff, because I've seen this discussion. I think it's interesting. Do you want the 12 best, or do you like having James Madison and Tulane in there so it's more inclusive? What's your preference? Because if you say you want your 12 best, I don't think you can argue that James Madison is better than Texas, Notre Dame, BYU, Vandy. What's your preference?
Well, we got to get into then the conference champion discussion, which is also part of the whole ACC debacle with their conference champion and things of that nature, and why James Madison and why Tulane are in is because the NCAA doesn't want to get sued because they don't have this whole thing got all screwed up. I think there's a good mix of the 12 best, but then you've also got to throw in what's the Ole Miss game? It's a rematch of the one from earlier in the season where it was lopsided, wasn't it?
And so is Alabama, Oklahoma is a rematch, right? Don't they play Gaardsy in Alabama?
Tulane.
Yeah.
Ole Miss plays
Tulane already
Oklahoma
happened.
hosts Alabama.
Yeah, Ole Miss Tulane already happened. We know how that went. I mean, Oregon versus JMU. I mean, now UCLA coach Bob Chesney gets to stay coaching them, but I even think I'm not even as upset about the Alabama thing. I think the thing that has me the most upset is the way Notre Dame took their ball and went home and is now pouting.
Yeah, hold on. Before we get to that, let me answer Chip's question. Do I want the 12 best teams or do I want inclusion? I want inclusion. I want inclusion because you're asking all these programs, all these teams, I know the SEC and the Big Ten wanted to just be the 20-team invitational. And, of course, more people are going to watch those games. I get all of that, but the world will survive with James Madison being in there. And, by the way, I was just listening to my guys Neuheisel and Childers before I came here, and Neuheisel read a text from a group of 5 administrator that said, 40% of Indiana's team is from James Madison. He's like their leading rusher, their leading receiver, the leading tackle for loss in the Big Ten. Mm-hmm. And are there probably more good players at Texas than James Madison or Tulane? I think we can all safely say that, right? But
yeah,
they deserve an opportunity. As Chip would say, I'm sorry. We're going to be okay. It's okay to have teams 11 and 12 be teams that aren't, that don't have 10 Heisman Trophy winners and 65 years of tradition. Because I know people are mad about that. That's one of the things that they're saying. We shouldn't be arguing about Notre Dame. We should be arguing about James Madison and Tulane. It's okay to let the underdog in. It's okay. It's what's made the big dance what it is, right? It's what's made March Madness. And it's obviously it's going to be harder in football because you have to have more numbers and you have to have health and all those things. But I want the little guy in. I think college, one of the things that's unique about college sport, everybody has a team for the most part. So you got to give them something. You got to give them something to play for if you're going to keep asking them to, spend this money and, sell these tickets. And that's my opinion. That's my opinion. But anyway,
you know,
go ahead, Burns.
Yeah,
go ahead.
No, take it, Chip.
Well, I was gonna say, and you know, the comeback is, wow, these teams are gonna get killed. Well, guess what? Power 2 teams get killed. You know, we see it happened last year. You know, to a team I love.
Sure,
they get killed in these playoffs. You know, it happens. So I tend to agree with you. I do want it. I think it'd be great to see this go to 16 teams.
And it will. It will.
And it
That's
will.
The other thing. It
probably,
will. They're going to expand it.
But it is college football is politics and pettiness, and I love it. That should be the headline, right? Politics and pettiness.
Yeah, that should be your book in retirement.
I know.
That should be your book.
And the Notre Dame saying we're not going to play, we didn't get what we wanted. So I know there's conversation that they're trying to hurt ESPN and not going to play on there for their ratings. I think it's more
stupid.
They didn't get what they
They'll be fine.
wanted. So they said we're going to not play, which you're only hurting your fans, really, you know?
Right.
I mean, if I'm a fan of Notre Dame,
you want to watch you play.
I'm disappointed, but I think I'd still, once I got past that, I would enjoy watching them in a bowl game. Maybe if that happened to Tennessee, I would be pissed, but I would, it's not like I'm not going to watch them in a bowl game. Right.
Right.
So, but I tend to agree with you, Gaardsy. I think I do like last year we went through the same thing last year. Like, let's open it up to some of the, non-traditional, the non-blue bloods, and let's get to watch them. I mean, I like the mix, Yeah.
Yeah. You guys, you've nailed the key points though, just on, they have to figure out what to do with the show because that creates so many problems for them because every week something changes. And I'm in this corner right now of room/office/ where all my crap goes in the house. Like I'm backed into the corner right now. They are like even more, they back themselves into a corner every single week. And it's just, so I don't know if you just do one, if you just do two, if you do a mid-season check-in like they do for the March Madness tournament, they'll do like one in like January and says, here's where everybody is right now. I would do it that way. And we'll see. I mean, at some point, I think if they expand the playoff, you do have to just get rid of conference championship games because you're going to make up the money. The money's going to be there. And that creates too many issues now too, we've seen. So, but I don't know what that means for conference champions getting in then. Like, I don't know. I don't know, but it just creates so many issues that we're just seeing them. The BYU/Alabama issue, conference champ. Like, I think that's going to go away too at some point.
Well, with that show, I mean, you see the production that ESPN makes of it. Like for them, why would they ever get rid of it? ESPN, and it's in the contract. Like for them, this is, hey, people are tuning in and talking about college football and they're coming, so they're not going to get rid of it. So if I was on the committee, I'd be like, I don't want to be the face of that, where we're going to be made to look hypocritical and going back on making decisions that make no sense because it's hard to argue a team sliding when they keep winning. And then when they don't play, they get penalized where another team that, but you're right with the conference championships. Like it either hurts you or help you or nothing. Cause it didn't hurt Alabama, but it hurt BYU. So what's the standard? What's the standard? There's gotta be some standards here, right? It and it leads to the, it throws gas on the fire of the SEC when one team, the SEC doesn't get punished and another team does.
Well, I'm old enough to remember that the whole argument back in 2023 when they put in Bama over Florida State was, well, Florida State was limping to the finish line. While I'll add they were still winning, but we wanted the best team, which was Bama. And so it's just none of this makes any sense. And again, you guys already hit the key points where it's just like, who could have done this to us? You did, selection committee. You didn't care about the head-to-head until the final week with, say, Miami and Notre Dame. Or, again, I understand that a lot of these ACC, like, tiebreaker things, and that's who got into the conference championship and things like that. But I don't know, man. Like, I don't feel bad for anybody over there. Even watching that show on Sunday morning, it was just like listening to Herb Street try to defend. It's just like, do we always have to be the company man? Like, can we not have like a thought that may go against what? And I understand there's the danger in that for someone, but it's just like, I can't. But again, the Notre Dame thing to me since then, which again, I'm sure all of our listeners know this, but Notre Dame doesn't make the playoff and then declines to go to a bowl game. Says we're going to pout, go home, take our ball, and we're just going to sit there and pout, and we're going to complain about the ACC, and we're going to complain about ESPN. Or athletic director's going to go do media. Here's my rant about that before I'll let you guys talk about this. Is what are we doing? Where how do I want to formulate this? So something didn't go your way in life, which all three of us know that happens. So what? You're just going to go home? What are you teaching these 18 to 23-year-olds that, oh, we got snubbed in your mind? Well, we're not going to go play in what is arguably the funnest bowl game or the most fun bowl game to watch, the Pop-Tarts Bowl against BYU is who you would have gone and played. Like the two teams who got technically snubbed. It's a great game. It's in Orlando. Like what? But because you are all hot and bothered and upset and, oh, we get to be the Fighting Irish. Look at us. Look how great we are. I think the best thing I saw with that is that I forget what the sign is that they slap before they go down.
Play like a champion.
Play like champion today.
Yeah. Somebody made the meme of just
the old guys in the room nailed that one.
That's right.
God, it bugs me immensely that they just are now pouting and complaining. Who could have done this to us? Well, then go join a bleeping conference and actually play someone, because you played 3 ranked teams all year and you went 1-2. Like what? Like you played like I just cannot even with Notre Dame. I've never liked Notre Dame, first and foremost.
We can tell. First of all, we can tell.
Yeah, don't worry.
Like God, the high and mighty nature of them right now is just I cannot stand it.
Yeah, their schedule was. I mean, like I said, I think they were 44th in strength of schedule, and but they're going to resist the conference. I mean, they get this massive deal with NBC. They're not, why they don't think it's in their best interest until something like this happens, and you can easily point to their conference or their record. I mean, it's just their strength of schedule. It's just not comparable to what like Alabama's was. I think it's pretty comparable to Miami's, but and maybe they need to adjust who they play. Maybe you don't need to play Purdue and 4 or 5 cupcakes, or not cupcakes, but because if they were in a conference, they would play some cupcakes in a non-conference, right? So that would happen. But yeah, it's to me, it's a bad look, and this is where I think, again, it goes back to that show. But if you're inside Notre Dame, you have to say we can't listen to what they're saying and feel safe, even though we're winning. It looks like you're safe. It looks like you're safely in the field, and you keep winning, and every week you're in the field, you're in the field, you're in the field, you're winning, you're in the field, and then all of a sudden you don't. Then you're not. I could understand like wait a second, what just happened here? I could see, sure. But so this show and the committee created this perception that you're safe, you're in. And that's where I think is it a disservice to have that show and have those rankings where you give the false hope or the false impression of what the team's doing everything right? I understand their anger, I understand their frustration, I understand their bewilderment, but I think just saying we're not going to play in a bowl game because of that, I think you're just penalizing your own fans.
Yeah, I like what and I know it was a player's decision, apparently, right? The leadership council said, do we want to play? And they apparently voted no, that they don't want to play. On the flip side, Vanderbilt, 10-2, right? And had a good season. And I don't think we're ever, I know they were even saying, we'll play an extra game right now if you need another data point to get us into the playoffs. Their head coach said, we didn't do enough. We're ready to play against Iowa, right? And even Iowa, because we'll talk about some other bowl opt-outs. Like, you never have to worry about Iowa not going to play, right? Like, I think Ferentz said this week, our whole roster is ready to roll. We're going down to Tampa for the 50th time. Our fans are going to have a great time, and we're ready to play. And to your point, Burnsy, Vanderbilt, Iowa sets up to be a nice bowl game outside of the playoffs, right? Because I think all three of us are still bowl people. I think we understand where it's going. I talked about inclusion, the other day. It's like, I don't like the playoff or bust, championship or bust mentality, especially for college. And I love Iowa's approach. I always have, like the COVID year, right? When everybody was limping to the finish and they were all like we knew 2 weeks before the last game the Gophers were not going to play in a bowl, even though I wanted to. Selfishly, it's another game check for me. I didn't get COVID tested every day though, so I understand. But like Iowa played in a bowl game, or they were going to, and then I think Missouri opted out or something. Like I understand why teams don't, and especially some of the ones that are doing it now. And I understand why Notre Dame's upset, but I don't like it. I don't like it because I respect the teams that go, no, we're going to play. We're going to play. We're a team. We're going to go play with whoever we have. If Jeremiah Love's going to opt out and go to the NFL, fine. We're going to play with whoever we have because that's what we signed up to do. Like I respect Vanderbilt for their whole approach on it of we're ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, because you still want to play one more game with your guys, right? Even if not everybody's going to opt out, but like Iowa State, I'm completely fine with that team opting out. That's a mess. You lose your coach. You have a new coach coming in. Players are going to go in the portal, all that. I'm fine with them. To me, that's a totally different conversation than what Notre Dame did. I mean, Notre Dame just said, we're mad. We're not going to play. I mean, the way Vandy's handled it. And look at I think they lost to what, Georgia and Alabama, or 2 playoff teams.
Vandy lost on the road at Bama, on the road at Texas.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, think about that. 10-2 with that schedule. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we all sort of, but I go back to these weekly rollouts, and you're given a perception, and you're telling a team that you're in the playoff, and they keep winning, and then at the last second they're not. Maybe they should have had some more looked at it more realistically and said, hey, we're going to get to the end of this, and maybe Miami's going to be bumped up against us, and we're going to get leapfrogged by head-to-head. I don't know. Maybe they should have looked at it a little more critically than they were. But there was no, if every week a group is telling you you're in something, I think you probably tend to believe it, right? So,
sure.
Lesson learned. I guess lesson learned.
I mean, I'm even looking at Notre Dame's schedule for next year, because there was also the tidbit that came out where it's written in some contract that if Notre Dame finishes in the top 12,
next year it changes.
Make the playoff.
Next year it changes. The contract changes with the CFP next year. So they would, if the stipulations were next year, this year, they would be in.
Well, let me ask you guys, what does Notre Dame have to do next year to get in? Because here are some of the key games on their schedule. What I will tell you is the toughest games. Now, they start off their season at Lambeau Field against what was one of the worst Badger teams in the last, I don't know how many years. But they've also got Michigan State on the docket, Purdue, Bill Belichick's North Carolina team. Miami will be a very important game for them. They get that one at Notre Dame, SMU, and I would say the other one is USC. Like, the rest of that schedule is a joke.
Yeah.
But that's a pretty tough run right there. What you just
That'll
mentioned.
be at USC. That'll be at USC too, right? Because they hosted USC this year.
Undetermined. Yeah. It says undetermined right now. But Michigan State and Purdue, for what they are right now, you'll have year 1 of Pat Fitzgerald, year 2 of
Rossi,
Barry Odom.
He's back.
Yeah.
Rossi's back with Fitz.
That's not they're going to have to go 11-1 to me to make the playoff next year. You lose 2 games, there's no way you get in with that schedule. Like, if you lose to Miami and then you drop one against USC or SMU.
Well, is that schedule any different than it is this year, really? Well, I guess you had 2 tough ones. You had Miami and Texas A&M right off the bat, but that's
right.
Again, their strength of schedule was 44 this year, so that's probably where that's going to be next year, I would think, right in that ballpark.
Yeah, it's just, again, I enjoy that we're debating 10-2 and 9-3 now, not 13-0 like a couple of years ago.
Yeah, for sure.
Florida State gets left out and Bama gets put in.
And I lose no sleep over whoever was going to get jobbed this year. You said, Chip, at the end of 68, 69, 70, the teams on the bubble. I think the system is by and large working fine. And they've shown flexibility to tweak it as they go. We just saw what they did with the buys from a year ago, year over year, so that Ohio State's not playing, Oregon in the Rose Bowl in a 1-8 matchup. Although Indiana's going to have to play Alabama or Oklahoma, which is no picnic in the Rose Bowl either. I like the fact that they've tweaked it. So I lose no sleep over who's in and who's out. I think they got to, like we said, get rid of the show, maybe figure out some other things to tweak as we go. But I have someone's going to be mad. That's just the nature of the business. Someone's always going to be mad in these selection show criteria. There's only 12 when 15 teams probably have a say. That's good. That's what you want. You want people to feel like the playoff is accessible and you can get there. So I've lost no sleep over this.
Or if you're going to show, just be consistent. Again, that's
but
the thing we're all upset about.
It's hard to because everything's different. Because conference championships, conference champions, some teams don't play. This metric matters until it doesn't. Like It's hard when you have 4 different conferences and a group of 5, and it's hard to be consistent when so many other things are so different. That's why they get into these problems. And so, but again, I think it's fine. We got most of the good teams in there. Go play.
Gaardsy, remember when it used to be 1 versus 2?
Well, do you remember? I was talking about this on the fan. Remember when none of them played and you just went and played your bowl and then Chip Scoggins.
We'll figure out who's 1 and 2. Yeah,
exactly.
We'll vote on
Hey, you know who's going to decide? The writers. The writers who, by the way, there's no internet. You've seen a team play maybe once. You've all taken trains to get there. We'll just let the media decide. Just let us know. And they would do it before the bowl games.
Yes.
Like the Gophers won a national championship and then lost in the Rose Bowl, I think in 1960.
Yeah.
So that's what we used to do. I think it is instructive. Like you said, until when did the BCS start? When did 1 versus 2 start? I mean, that was only like 25 years ago.
When did Wetzel write the book Death to the BCS? That was not so long ago.
Right. And so that's what we used to do. Everybody would just play their traditional bowl games and then we just decide. Like the 3 of us would probably have had a say in who the national champion was.
Oh boy.
Right? Like so at least they're playing now. They've gotten smart. They've figured it out, and it's going to get better. They're going to expand it. They're going to find ways to do it.
Hey, we'd know who our national champion is today if we had to vote on it, right?
We wouldn't. Yeah, who would you vote for? I guess you'd vote for Indiana.
Indiana. Yeah, they'd be the national.
Right? But then Ohio State would say, yeah, but we lost a year ago and then ran through the playoffs. So
I know.
But that's the beauty of it. And that's why you had shared titles, and there was controversy about that. Like, it's crazy. So I think and speaking of Wetzel, he wrote a column that's basically saying what I'm saying. Everybody calm down. It's working the way it's supposed to.
Oh gosh, remember my first year on the beat, 2003, Auburn, LSU, right? I went to both those look it up real quick. Auburn, 2003, it was Auburn and LSU. It was Nick Saban at LSU. Auburn was did they finish in a tie? How was it? Did they split it?
It was a split. LSU won the BCS title by beating Oklahoma. USC,
I was at that game.
USC was named the champions in the AP and Football Writers polls, making it the last split title in history. LSU and USC.
So what was splits. Auburn? Did Auburn do something? No. I knew it was LSU because that was the Nick Saban, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. That was in New Orleans. That was the BCS championship. I went to that one, right?
The Sugar Bowl. Yep.
Sugar Bowl. Yeah. Ah, that was what 22 years ago. So,
yeah, exactly. So everybody, calm down. Everybody, pray to touchdown Jesus. If you're BYU, go on another Mormon sabbatical. What do they call it? Mission trips. Missions. Everybody, just relax. You've got the regular season still matters. You can still move. You've got ways to get into the playoff. Like, it'll all be fine. These games are going to be great. We'll have plenty of time to talk about the games, so we won't do that as much now in the bracket, but games are going to be good. We should probably spend a minute talking about Indiana, though, because that is something. I mean, we'll never see anything like this ever again because of how bad they were forever and how good they are now. And like even now, Minnesota is the last team to win an outright Big Ten championship. They have that mantle, unfortunately, if you're a Gopher fan. But even if they somehow jumped up and did it, it wouldn't be the story now that Indiana is, right? Because Indiana it'd be a huge deal, but like they've at least had, 8-win seasons, 7-win seasons, a 10-win season in the last decade. They wouldn't be coming out of nowhere like Indiana did.
I was thinking about this, boys. When was it we went there last? Was it 4 years ago? They had lost to, remember, Iowa, and it was the next week we went there.
Oh, look.
Yeah, 2021.
Was it 21 or 22? But I remember getting out of the car with Randy Johnson. Yeah. I remember, we get there early, but not so early that, but I remember we got there and we're like, do we got the right day? Is there a game here? And there was nobody there. I mean, they couldn't have had 25,000 people in the stands that day. I mean, I remember the weather was kind of bad, but it was just like desolate. And to think of how far they've come in 2 years with Signet, I mean, it's one of the great jobs of maybe college football history when you look at how run down and just bleak it was to what they're doing now. And that game, we focused on the quarterbacks, but man, that was one as hard hitting as physical game as you're going to see. I mean, college football now, it's score a bunch of points, it's high flying. That was throwback. We're going to, beat each other up. And the way Indiana stood up in the trenches and how physical they played, goodness, man, that team is they clearly could go win the national title with how they play, how the quarterback, how physical they are. That was just a hell of a college football game.
This will be a team that I think we're going to look back on in a decade, 2 decades, and just be like, how? Because you look at the way that roster has been constructed, and it's largely with just transfers that they immediately hit on. Like the way that they are hitting on transfers, the way that they're developing these 3-star players into guys that are now going toe-to-toe with Ohio State's athletes and not carrying it all, matching physicality, flying around the field is frankly unbelievable. And I know that I saw what I think is one of the best Illinois writers, Jeremy Warner, say this, that Indiana has now, just for anything related to any team that's been in the same shoes at any point, it's just like ruining the perspective of other teams. Where the Gophers go 7-5 yet.
Mm-hmm.
The Gophers go 7-5. Well, they should. Why can't they be Indiana? Illinois goes 8-4. Why can't they be Indiana? Every team, every fan base is now, well, why can't they be Indiana? And look, the Indiana defense and their defensive coordinator, Brian Haynes, like, he's going to be the Broyles Award winner for a reason. The way that they have been able to coach up this team is unbelievable. Unbelievable. And they get the most out of every single guy. And I think they take the most out of Signetti, and they really kind of just embody him. And I think there is a big part of that. But it is just remarkable that the 99th percentile outcome in player development, coaching, scheme continues to show up each and every week for that team. And honestly, I'm having a ton of fun watching it.
The thing I like is,
it's great.
Do you guys remember? I remember when Signetti got hired and the brashness and Purdue this and Michigan, and I remember thinking, oh, okay, let's settle down. Well, guess what? The guy backed it up. The guy backed it up.
Indiana fans thought it. I mean, Indiana fans are probably like, does he know where he is? He's in Bloomington, Indiana. Yeah. No, the perspective thing too. So, but it's important, I think, to understand how and why. He obviously had a great thing at James Madison. They're still really good, right? Their old coach just got the UCLA job. He brought the right players with them. He found the right players. They've obviously invested. There's Burnsy's favorite thing, assistant salary pool. They're spending as much money as anybody in the conference. That does matter. It is important. It's not just as easy as, well, they just hired a guy that, says, Google me. Like, there's a lot of stuff that goes underneath that, right?
Right.
Like, obviously, Mendoza, not a cheap quarterback from Cal. You've got great pieces that came with you. That's important. Now they got to keep doing it, right? I mean, that's what these top schools are doing. You look at the portal rankings. I mean, Texas Tech is right up there this year, right? Best portal rankings. You may as well just be payroll, right? Is that fair, Burnsy? Like,
Chip, I know you got some.
Did you see the thing that somebody put on Twitter and that their payroll? I assumed it was portal. This is not the revenue sharing, but 25 to 35 million for their NIL.
Ooh.
You're talking about Indiana?
Tech. No, Texas Tech. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Believe it.
I believe that.
Yeah. So if you had rev share on there, if it was 35 on the top end and you add, let's say 15 million, now you're talking about a $50 million team.
Well, that's where their best pass rusher. There was a story, I think Yahoo put it out, where they took a kid from Stanford and he thought he was going to go to Cal. And then he just gets a text message from the GM of Tech saying, name your price. I think he's making like $4 or $5 million himself. And again, they went out and bought the best roster they could possibly do, and now they're going to get a bye in the college football playoff, and they're ahead of schedule. And that's where I think the Tech oil guy, who's the one who's behind all this.
That's who it was, yeah, the billionaire,
Yeah, he goes, well, the metrics behind the scenes, our data says we're going to be even better next year. Like, we're way ahead of schedule right now. I'm like,
well, I'm sure. Why wouldn't they be?
I love college football. Like this.
Yeah.
You got the old tycoon who's funding the payroll.
Yeah, yesterday I Googled wealthiest Minnesota alums. And the names that T. Denny Sanford's up there, obviously, the Lindahl, and then it's basically all Cargills. And the Cargills have no interest in doing anything. They all live in Montana. There's nothing written about them. Like, they're just like the old school quiet billionaire family that just keeps to themselves. And there's not going to be a new Cargill building on campus. So because I get texts from friends of mine that are in business, because we talked about that Michigan State thing last week. The one dude's given $401 million, and then they're hopefully going to raise $1 billion. It's like, it's disheartening, honestly, if you're one of the teams that can't do this. And right now, Minnesota is one of the teams that can't do that, because you can still find a way to be competitive, but can you be competitive at the top, or like give yourself the best chance? I mean, when you've got a dude just, and they've got a picture of him sitting courtside, probably with Izzo, and they're all just in their Michigan State zips, and the guy's like, yeah, 401 mil, sure, no problem. Like, it's just, but that's the reality right now.
It would be interesting to go through the, not including Tulane and James Madison, but the other 10 and just see what their payrolls are.
Well, again,
let's just guess. Oregon.
Yeah.
Let's just guess, though. Do we think Oregon has a good payroll?
Yes.
Alabama?
Yeah.
Oklahoma?
Yes, Saban. They're just living on food stamps down there for that program.
Yeah.
Miami? I mean, they've put people in print over the years, right? In the Bryant McKinney era. Texas A&M, do we think they have a good payroll? Ohio State, do you think their payroll's good?
No.
I mean, I don't think Chip, I don't think we need to do much research. I don't think we need to deep dive here.
I would love to see like what the gap is between these 10 teams and then everyone else. Cause the average of those, would you say if you throw in the 15 million rev share, which I think most people are doing 15 million, right? Let's just say that. Yes. And that's pretty uniform. Is the average 40 million, 45 million?
See, I don't think Indiana is that far up there. Now, I will say again, like if you ask me of all these teams, Power 4 wise in the playoff, they're probably bottom 3 of them. But that also makes it sound like they don't have any money, which we've talked about before. Go look at when Mark Cuban left the Dallas Mavericks ownership and look at what Mark Cuban has done publicly for that university since then, with I think $6 million building here, $8 million donation there, and then know that he combined with other wealthy Indiana alums are also certainly giving, I would tell you, 8 figures to that program. Now, is it to the level of a Tech or an A&M? No. But the way that Cignetti, and again, I think this is the most impressive part about Cignetti and his staff, is they are hitting on 90+% of these guys that they take out of high school, out of the portal. And that is such an unsustainably high clip for the rest of America. Yet they did it, and they deserve credit for that. And again, that's why they're one of the teams that I hope does win the playoff.
Are they hitting? How much of that is because they're great evaluators, and how much is that because they have more money to spend now?
I think it's both. Again, I think their talent
That's a combo.
evaluation. Like again, the guy who might even win the Heisman. That's one of my biggest gripes with people is Fernando Mendoza cost God knows how many million. Again, he was a very good Cal quarterback, and they bought him out of the portal. He was multi-millions of dollars. Like he was really good at Cal. Now he's great. And by the way, did you watch his post-game press conference or on the field there?
I'll be correct you, Burnsy. He was very flippin' good at Indiana. He was
Yeah.
very flippin' good at Indiana this year.
Yeah.
I was dying. My wife was sitting next to me and she heard him talking and watched it. And she looked at me and she goes, "What the heck was that? Is that what these guys sound like?"
Big Cat from Barstool said, "Did Mendoza just cost himself the Heisman with that interview?"
I had a couple people bring that interview up. I know.
Yeah. He obviously seems like a great kid. I mean, he's like Kirk Cousins on steroids almost. Like if Kirk.
And by the way, did you see the back of the close-up TV shots of the back of his arms late in the game, where he was just beat to hell and back? I mean, his arms were black and blue and scraped and cut. And I mean, that first shot he took in the first play of the game, that's a tough kid, man.
It's the entire Indiana roster. You could look at them from 1 to 22 and say that's a tough kid, man, and that's why they're so good. So it's it's not
to Chip's question, obviously,
but
right,
it is about the money.
But when you have so many of your James Madison people coming with you, like think about all these dudes playing at James Madison. Like I remember thinking about that when the 2019 team for the Gophers, all those guys that were committed to PJ at Western Michigan, Tanner, Bell, Tanner Ottman-Bell, Mo. Like, Mo became the greatest running back in Minnesota history. He was going to Kalamazoo, I believe, if I remember correctly. So, like, imagine those dudes at James Madison. So they are obviously tend to evaluate. Like, they obviously know who, because he had a lot of those guys last year too, right? That I think it was 13 or 14 kids that came with them. Like that set the foundation. So plenty of time to talk about the playoff and the Hoosiers. Anything else you guys want to talk about nationally before we talk about the Rate Bowl, the Gophers, the opt-outs, all that stuff? Anything else?
I want to hear about date night with the Scoggins.
At Jack's Cafe?
Oh, is that where it was?
Is that where you decided to go? A little date night at
Imagine
Jack's
that.
Cafe? Interesting.
Yeah, it was I tell you what, the patio is just spectacular. Bill has it just amazing out there. All the lights and he was telling me there's a Santa sleigh out there and everybody was going out to get their picture there. He's had that thing, what do you say, since 1950s, and he had it refurbished and it's really cool. I'm sure the kids love it. Even the adults, everybody was taking their picture from it. The food was, you almost had to drag me out there. It was so good. I went with the crab legs, and they were first time I've had crab legs there. Outstanding. And our server came over when it was time for dessert. He said, "Bill bet me $100 you're getting a creme brulee." I was like, "Buddy, you just lost a bet." Creme brulee was outstanding the whole night. It was just, my wife we just had a great time. Into this football season, not for Vikings, but for the Gophers, and just to get out. Like I said, it was post Thanksgiving. We'd done a lot of cooking, and be able to go there and just had great crowd. And Bill said it's been like that. I love when I go in there and there's a full house in there, right? So that people are having a great time, and it was a full house and had a lot of energy in there, and just an awesome time. But the place looks beautiful. Like if you want just an experience with all the lights and Christmassy, I mean, it's fabulous.
Yeah, you never go to Jack's and go, "All right, I'm done. That was one and done." Like if you haven't gone. So in a way, it's a endorsement and a warning. Like don't go to Jack's if you think you're just going to go there one time, because it's going to stay with you. The entire experience is going to stay with you, and it's going to stay with your significant other. They're going to say, "We should go to Jack's." When you're thinking about, like you said, Chip, it's been long. You just want to have a great night. Just, even if it hasn't been long, you just want to have a great night, a great time. They're going to say, "What about Jack's?" So don't say we didn't warn you. Don't say we didn't warn you. Don't tweet us or text us and say, "Oh, my wife wants to go to Jack's every week." Yeah, we've been telling you that. So go at your own peril. I'm not sure this is what Bill wants me to say, but that's the point. Is if you go, you're going to want to go back. and you will go back again and again and again. My kids are on me about breakfast with Santa. And it's like, well, if you didn't play so many sports, I'd already have this figured out. But you want to play hockey and swimming and basketball and tennis and lacrosse and all these things. Like, we're working on it. Still got a couple of more Saturdays. Breakfast with Santa. You can learn more, which is amazing. Breakfast with Santa at jackscafe.com. Add Burnsy.
Say that again.
Anything you want to add? I think we've covered it.
Again, I was just there a couple weeks ago, man. Again, it's one of the best places. So if you get that bonus end of year bonus, or if you're just thinking it's been a long year, let me take my significant other out to a nice dinner. jaxcafe.com.
All right, the Rate Bowl. This was interesting to me, and actually, this is on my desk. I don't even know what this was. What is this, Burnsy? Was this a phone charger we got the last time we were there?
Yes.
This is from a couple of years ago. This just
Wait a
happened to be
second.
on my
Wait a
desk here.
second. You got a phone charger? Maybe I will cover
Look
this
at
ball
the way
game.
that man's eyes light up.
Seriously. It's called the Rate Bowl now, so I don't know why they don't guarantee the rate anymore. It must be a tough economy. It's just whatever the rate is, you're going to get it, and we're not going to guarantee it. It could change at any point. I'm not exactly sure. But the Gophers, as we all expected, are going back to Arizona. I think it's the 6th time they're playing in an Arizona Bowl. They've played in this particular bowl a million times in a million variations. And because Iowa State had a coaching change and doesn't want to play, because Kansas State had a coaching change and doesn't want to play, the Gophers are taking on one of Richard Pitino's old schools. This is the Pitino Bowl, the New Mexico Lobos. New Mexico lost to Michigan this year in the Big House. They beat UCLA at the Rose Bowl. They got a coach fired. A good Power 4 program. Your general reaction to, could we even call it news, Burnsy? Because I think you and I and everybody that followed this were resigned to the Rate Bowl for the last couple of weeks of the season.
And we'll get into thoughts and feelings on that. But yeah, that's where the interesting part about it was, because of those two opt-outs. You saw immediately, by the way, within a few hours, the Big 12 hits both schools with $500,000 fines. Which I want to get Chip's reaction to hearing, all right, we don't want to play. Well, we're going to get slapped. Again, I know we're talking about 9-figure athletic budgets, but a $500,000 fine for places like Iowa State and Kansas State, that's still significant enough to me.
Well, I know these conferences have contracts with these bowls that they have, they're obligated to fill, but I just think, what do you want Iowa State to do? Their coach went to another place. They have a coach come. You want the guy who just got here 3 seconds ago to coach the team? I mean, and guys are going to leave. It's one thing if you say, hey, we think we're above that bowl, or we didn't, we don't want to. That's a totally different situation than what Iowa State's in. I'm sorry. Like that, if I was Iowa State, I'd have a real problem with that fine, because, like, what do you want them to do? Like, who do you want them to? You got to have coach and structure, and you got to practice. I mean, I don't know. I thought that one was kind of a joke. I completely understand why Iowa State doesn't. If a team just thinks, I don't want to go to a bowl game, or we didn't get what we thought we deserved, or something like that, to me, that's not an excuse for skipping a bowl game. But when you lose your staff and you maybe have some injuries or you're whatever, I just think it's.
Let me ask you this, because I do tend to agree with you. But why is it different than what? How is it different from Ole Miss?
What do you mean?
They lost their coach.
Yeah, they're in the playoff, though.
It's still a game.
You're going to compare the playoff to the Rate
Bowl? Yes.
On, man.
For this conversation.
Many people are saying this, Chip. Many people.
Come on. If you're making that leap, I think that's a quantum leap. Yeah, and I don't know how many even coaches.
But who's coaching them? I mean, who's coaching Ole Miss? I mean, Lane said half the staff get on the plane.
Well, now they're letting Weiss Jr. go back and coach the offensive coordinator. He's letting him coach theirs, so it didn't disrupt it. Yeah. So, I don't have a problem.
The point is, it can be done. I mean, teams have done it before.
It can, but I just, again. There's a massive difference between the playoff and let's be honest, these bowl games are exhibitions. As much as we love them, they're exhibitions, right? Mm-hmm. And hell, half the team might opt out, want to be in the portal. And if you're playing for the glory of whatever the trophy they get or a week in Phoenix.
They get a guaranteed rate mortgage, although it's not guaranteed anymore. It's just a rate. It's just a raid. We're not sure what it is. It could change at any moment.
I didn't have a problem with that. I think you're seeing players exercise their power a little more than what we've had in the past, that they said, hey, now wait a second. We actually have a say in things now. And if we don't want to play, we're not going to play. I think you have to be real careful with that, because you are, there's a fan base that supports you, that gives you NIL money, that comes to stadiums, and you need to respect that and acknowledge that. But I just think when things are a mess, which, and chaotic, with coaches coming, coaches leaving, whatever, I understand it.
But they get to take on the Fighting Jason X, who is either going to be the head coach of the Wisconsin Badgers in 12 months, because he is a lacrosse Wisconsin native. He played at Wisconsin. He would be on my hot board here at the University of Minnesota if Fleck were to leave. I mean, the dude wins. He was really good at South Dakota State, which got him the Idaho job. He won there, gets to New Mexico in year one and goes 9-3. I mean, they play really hard. But the other thing I've seen with it is, and I'll be down there. My wife's going to come with me. I think we're going down the 23rd, back the 27th. So, look, give me 5 days in Phoenix compared to.
You're going down the 23rd?
Well, you got media on the morning of the 24th.
Man, good for you. Yeah, you've earned it. I got to get down there and do media. Look, not all heroes. Same media hotel? Same media hotel?
No, we're going to stay in downtown Phoenix for this one.
Well, that's disappointing.
Nah.
Your wife, I'm going to tell her that you're going cheap. I'm telling her that you're.
That was her idea for this one, by the way. I gave her the
she's
option.
wrong. She's wrong. You should. Hold on. Is the media hotel the same media hotel?
Correct.
Do we know?
Yes.
Oh, come on.
I gave her the option.
Come on, Liz. Give me your number. Give me your number. She's been hanging around. She's been fostering too many cats. She's not thinking clearly.
I still got some foster cats, man.
Downtown Phoenix.
Get these two little guys away from me. Somebody come adopt these. But
downtown Phoenix or the media, and I don't even want to say where the media hotel is because I don't. We should. But with the view of Camelback, you're going downtown. Come on, Burnsy, you got to step in here. This is ridiculous.
Happy wife, happy life.
And I'm telling you,
your battles. How many different cliches I got to say here, gentlemen? I got to learn from my elders.
She's not going to be as happy. She's going to get there and say, "You were right." No, hold on. They'll never say that.
No, but she'll say that.
Yeah, they won't say that. But she's going to get there and she's going to think he was right. She's not going to verbalize it, but she's going to be grateful. I'm worried about you already. Why does she want to stay in downtown Phoenix?
We've been to Phoenix before, and she wants to do some more exploring of downtown compared to we've gone to Phoenix and done hiking, and I think she's going to go do hiking while I write and stuff like that. But I don't know, man. I'm just telling you what I was told. But I will. Do you know
where there's a good hike? Do you know where there's a good hike? Camelback Mountain.
Camelback Mountain,
which you can see from the media hotel, from the pool. Because it's actually on the mountain or right next to the mountain. This has just ruined my trip that you're doing this.
Oh boy. But even with this, I think the Gophers
have a good trip. Have a good trip.
The Gophers are a 3-point favorite. We'll find out who plays. I mean, they're still being contracts negotiated, which again, welcome to this day and age of college football. I think the only one that I can say definitively I feel really, really, really good about is Drake Lindsay playing. But that's where we get into, and I want to give you the floor and step up to the pulpit here, Mr. Gaard, to a 7-5 Minnesota team didn't even, and from the way I understand it, from talking to people behind the scenes, even get a sniff of the number one preferred one on their list this year. And I can say that without a shadow of a doubt, which was Vegas, which went to a different 7-5 team that Minnesota also beat. And I want to get your thoughts, feelings, opinions on that.
Well, first of all, I'm still going to be rattled about this hotel choice. Like I'm just
going to be tweeting you photos every morning when I wake up.
Like I've stayed downtown Phoenix.
Yes,
I've stayed downtown Phoenix. It's fine. I need a second. I think I feel like I almost need a pause again. Here's what bothers me. here's what bothers me. Look, and full disclaimer out of the way. When you go 7-5, there should be no complaining about anything. I understand all of that. There should be no complaining. I think you do in a way forfeit the right to complain. But what's bothered me about this entire thing is the resignation for the last month that this is probably where they were going to go. And by the way, we had a great time at this bowl last time, right? This was a fun one. Arizona's cool. Yeah. The crowd was good. Even if you're staying downtown, it's a nice place. It's good. Everything's fine there.
Gotta let it go.
I'm never going to let this go. I'm never going to let it go. I just can't
boy.
even believe this. It's literally the greatest media hotel setup we've ever had. And like for you to not forcefully take advantage of, my kids are pissed they're not going because of that. And we only stayed there for one night because of the media thing. But anyway, where was I? The resignation that, well, Nebraska's going to go to Vegas. The understanding that Nebraska just had Vegas locked up almost no matter what happened. Even if the Gophers won another game, I think that was the prevailing thought. And I just can't wrap my head around because it's not 1990. The game, the ticket sales are going to be the ticket sales. The viewership is going to be the viewership. Again, I get it. I'm complaining about the Rate Bowl to the Vegas Bowl. But if it happens here, it happens at the top too. And Chip, you remember that from the Mace days.
Mm-hmm.
And they've changed the rules so that it's not supposed to happen as much. And it's just, again, I know we're splitting hairs, but that there was no chance, no debate, no discussion, no nothing that, well, yeah, Nebraska's just going to go to Vegas. And I would say, why? Because they've lost their last 3 games by 1 million, because their starting quarterback's hurt, because their running back is probably not going to play. I think he may have even already opted out. He declared for the draft, right?
Yeah.
Minnesota's own. Because they travel well to bowl games? They don't. Did you know the first bowl game that they went to in 8 years, the Pinstripe Bowl last year against Boston College, did you know the attendance for that game was lower than when the Gophers went to the Pinstripe Bowl just a year before? Now, again, I'm not flexing on Pinstripe Bowl attendance. I'm not criticizing Nebraska fans for not going, just like I wouldn't criticize Gopher fans. I have so much baggage even from the Nashville guy, Burnsy, as you know, that they've just never looked at Minnesota because of things from 30 years ago. It's frustrating to me because, and again, it doesn't really affect me one way or the other, right? Like, I'm going to the game probably the day before. I'm going to do the game, and I'm going to come home. And then I'm going to do women's basketball in Indiana 2 days later. But it just bothers me for the fans that just because people look at Link Memorial Stadium and it's full every Saturday, they think that all of a sudden they're going to plop that into all these places when it's just factually not true. It's just, and now they're going to play Utah with nobody. Read their 24/7 message board. I have. No one's going to that game. The same conversations that are had here in Minnesota, it's too expensive to go to Phoenix this time of the year. It's really expensive. They're having them there. It's like flights to Vegas are crazy. Hotels on New Year's are crazy. That's just what bothers me is, like, again, I understand this is insane that it bothers me this much because we're talking about the Rate Bowl versus the Vegas Bowl. But I just don't like the resignation. And this is from people at the school too, by the way, that this is just how it is. This is just how it is. Even though Nebraska has sucked forever, even though they've been in the preseason top 25 for the last 50 years, and it was the easiest call of all time that they were going to be ranked when they came into Huntington Bank Stadium. To me, it's the St. Louis is a great baseball town. Like, it just sounds good to say. And I'm sure it's a great baseball town, but is it like the greatest town of all time? I don't know. Like, it's just an easy water cooler thing to say is, yeah, we can't wait to have Nebraska. Their fans show up, they travel, it's awesome. They're always super pumped. No, they're not. No, they're not. They finally went to a bowl game a year ago, and a handful of people went. It was the lowest attended Pinstripe Bowl in a long time, and that's saying something because it's cold in New York and people don't love to go that. So that's saying something to lower the bar for Pinstripe Bowl appearances. And the conversation last year was it's too expensive to go to New York. So I'm not even criticizing that they don't go, but what bothers me is that there's a perception that they are so far above and beyond everything else. And that everybody just knew the Saturday that the Gophers were playing Wisconsin, they're just going to go to Vegas. irrelevant of what happened on the field that day or what happened on the field here or that the Gophers have the same. It's just, so that's what bothers me because I think it penalizes the fans. And because Gopher travel now, we've talked about it for 2 years. And I hate laziness with no research and no understanding, and that it's people that run these bowls operate that way and that we just take it frustrates me.
Chip, thoughts, feelings?
Well, it's interesting because perceptions are hard to change. And, a lot of times I hear about the Music City Bowl. Oh, the Gophers have been there a lot. Well, not in the last 2 decades. Have they gone in 20 years? I mean, it's like that was 20 years ago that we went a couple times in a row. The same reason that whenever Nebraska wins a game, Gaardsy, your complaints that they'll be ranked or overranked, it's just.
By the way, the Gopher basketball team beating Indiana, I think that's going to drop the Hoosiers down in next year's preseason top 25 poll. I don't think they're going to be. Right. I don't think they're going to be out of it, but I think they're probably going to be 23 or 24 now instead of 17 next March when they do the preseason polls.
Well, I've always long contended that these bowl reps are my age or older that have this perception of Tom Osborne in Nebraska, and we see the home games and the fans are in there and it's sellouts and they've had the sellout streak. And so you make assumptions. Well, they make assumptions about Gophers don't travel. Well, that's been disputed, or that's been dispelled.
Yep.
For probably, I'd go back to Kill Citrus Bowl. Remember that?
Yes. Yep. That's when it stopped. That's when it
stopped. That's when it changed.
That's when that season changed it.
Exactly. And go down the list of the non-conference, Colorado, wherever you want it, North Carolina. Gopher fans have traveled. And so, but perceptions are hard to change because it's just, they're ingrained. And you're right. I mean, okay, we're squabbling about mid-tier bowls or, these bowls but to me, it's more than that. It's more about the perception and more about where you think you belong and standing up for what you think how far you've come.
Yes.
To me, that's more than the actual bowl game, right?
Thank you. And that's why I'm doing it. That's why I feel, because I understand how stupid it might sound to some people, but and what really set me off was the last time we were in Arizona, and I want to be careful what I say about this, but I spoke with someone affiliated with the bowl at some point, between when we were there. I can't remember exactly when it was. And this person said they were thrilled to get Minnesota. They didn't think they had a chance at Minnesota. And what this individual said to me was, we thought they were going to go to Nashville, but then it turns out they had been to Nashville recently. Like this is what someone with the bowl said to me. And I said, well, no, we haven't been in Nashville like since 2004, 2005, whenever it was, no later than 2006. And the person with the bowl said, well, that's not, we had heard from someone in Nashville that they had just been there recently. And I feel like people should know that. Because we have these calls every week. I talked to Mark Coyle the whole month of November about the bowl calls. And like you said, why are we doing the TV show for the playoff if they're just going to do whatever they want to do at the end? Why are we doing these bowl calls every Monday to recap the weekend if we have people in charge of the bowls, in charge of them, that don't know who's been where, that don't even know who's been in their own bowl in the case of Nashville? And again, I understand to a sane person that this shouldn't bother me as much as it does, but it does bother me because I feel for the fans, because the whole point of changing all this stuff a few years ago so you wouldn't have repeat stuff. Gophers were just in Phoenix. When was that? 3 years ago, right? It was Phoenix, Pinstripe, Charlotte.
Yeah,
I think that was it.
Yeah,
4 years ago.
Yeah, Kai Thomas.
Lucky Irving. And again, it's a fun. I don't want to squash any enthusiasm that people have for doing this, because Phoenix is great. Phoenix is fun. They've got a great media hotel. If you have an opportunity to stay at the media hotel, you should absolutely take.
Are you getting paid on commission
take your
here
wife
for this specific hotel?
But it just frustrates me that is, like you said, Chip, the perception and just the resignation. Like even after Nebraska lost to Iowa, I was reading some stuff out there, and their columnists are going, and now Nebraska tumbles down to the Las Vegas Bowl. Like they all knew it. Like everybody just knew that this was the situation. And I just don't think it's right. And I remember Mace complaining about it 20 years ago, saying it's not fair to the kids. Yeah. It's not fair to the team. It's certainly not fair to the fans. And I feel like no one's doing – again, no one wants to take this up because it is silly. I understand that. But it also – again, we're asking people to pay. We're asking people to go. We're asking people to invest in these things. And people have at Minnesota. And I'm talking about the fans. And I just feel like they should feel like they're getting a fair shake when just this perception, because Memorial Stadium has been sold out since the Bob Devaney era. We think which by the way, they had to fix that too, by having boosters buy thousands of tickets when they really sucked. So that's even stupid. So it's just like, that just bothers me. It just bothers me. And I just, the defeatist attitude the whole time of this is how it's going to go, regardless of what happens on the field. I just don't think it's right. And what bothers me about it is people that are running these bowls, making good salaries, don't know these things or don't care about these things and just go, oh, Nebraska? Yeah, sure. Vegas, they'll travel. That'd be great. We can get Nebraska without a quarterback, without a running back, with a new defensive coordinator. Let's bring them. What could possibly go wrong? Anyway, I didn't intend to get that heated, but it's just – The Nashville conversation is really what got this whole thing going, because this happened 10 years ago too, when Nebraska was more consistently going to bowls. It was just, Nebraska's going to go, even though Jerry Kill's team had beaten them at the time. Like it was just a foregone conclusion that this was what was going to happen, and it's frustrating because they don't deserve it. They don't deserve it. They don't.
I think the interesting hypothetical would be if Minnesota could have made a field goal, or if Minnesota could have gotten a stop against Northwestern, would any of this changed? And
I don't know that it would have.
I that's what I was going to say is I still think Nashville would have taken Illinois because of the preseason expectations for that team and their location compared to Nashville.
And I get that. I understand. And they haven't been there a while. I get that totally.
Or I still even think the Pinstripe Bowl would have still taken Penn State because of their location and their helmet, which then would have put us into the discussion of what we just had of a 7-5 Nebraska versus 8-4 Minnesota. And I still think, I do, that the Vegas Bowl would have still chosen Nebraska. And it's annoying to be on the short end of it too many of these times is what it is.
Well, that happened when I was on the beat. I think that happened a couple times where they got leapfrogged by somebody with a worse record. And that's where that's where Mace really got annoyed, where like
he should have.
I can't remember. Was it the Sun Bowl one year? Maybe the Music City Bowl? I can't remember the whole thing, but I remember they got leapfrogged a couple times, and that's where he was, more vocal about it. But yeah, I mean, I understand all you're saying. At least it's warm, Gaardsy. At least it's a good.
I get it. Well, here's the thing. Back then, it was more about, because the other thing that's changed is ticket sales are not as important to bowls anymore.
No, it's what bowl games are? They're programming for ESPN.
Exactly.
That's what they are.
but that I think goes into my point. It's like we shouldn't be worrying about fan travel, even though fan travel is equal to bowl games right now with Minnesota and Nebraska. It just is. Look at the numbers. First of all, they've been to one bowl in 10 years, so you can't really compare apples to apples. You have to go back 10 years ago. Like the ticket sales was a huge deal back in the Mace days. And, when Iowa jumps them, like back then it made sense, right? As frustrating as it was, you understood it more, but they changed it to eliminate some of that stuff. And it just still seems like it's happening too much.
Yeah. I think the ticket sales are important in the fact that these bowls are tied into their city in terms of hotels, restaurants, those things. Like they want to be able to get more occupancy in their hotels. They want restaurants, So I don't think it's, yes, they want people in the stands. Obviously you make money that way, but I also think there's a civic part of that too, that they can, because you go to these bowls and they have all these relationships with their city and they want it to be they show off their city and all that. But let's be honest, it's programming for ESPN. That's what bowl games are. To have something on in the holidays when people are shopping or out at bars or restaurants to watch or at home. That's the crux of this. So it should be more about record and resume and all that. But again, if the argument is, or a big part of the argument is, Minnesota doesn't travel, I don't know what more evidence they need to dispute that.
Yeah. They shouldn't need any more. They shouldn't need any more.
This game is in the afternoon and not at like 9:30 p.m. Central Time like it was 4 years ago.
Yeah, I remember that. I mean,
and you want to guess how many people last year watched the Rate Bowl? Now, again, it's the day after Christmas. Everybody's home. There's nothing on TV. You're just sitting there watching. I get it. But do you want to guess how many people watched the Rate Bowl between, I think it was Kansas State and Rutgers? I'm
going to say at least 3 million.
Chipper?
I don't even know what an average game. I don't even know. I'm terrible at ratings, so I don't even know what would be good, bad, or indifferent.
3.5 million people watched Rutgers versus Kansas State. I think this year for Minnesota versus New Mexico in the middle of the afternoon, the day after Christmas, you're still going to get 3 to 4 million people to tune into that game.
Yes. And I'll be curious. Trust me, I'll be watching the attendance for the Vegas Bowl and the ratings for the Vegas Bowl. I will be watching because it just bothers me. It just bothers me so much. Because
my only plea is they don't open the roof 5 minutes before the game and it's pouring. Just keep, if it's going to rain, Chip, this is my only plea to the people at the Rate Bowl. I don't care if you've got guys who are supposed to be skydiving into the stadium. Just keep the thing closed so we don't have that playing surface again.
Gaardsy, would you be less upset if it was another team but other than Nebraska?
Yes, by definition, yes. Okay. But not that much more upset. I mean, because I think to me it's because they've beaten them so many times, because they've had, and how, just this specific example, obviously, I mean, I do the joke, the top 25 joke every year. Yeah. Like there's baggage there with me there.
But you're just saying in general that the whole idea of this, but I know, but it's exacerbated because it's Nebraska.
Now, by the way, fairness in my rant, the Citrus Bowl year, the Gophers went there because of these new bowl rules. Like they were 8-4 that year, and not saying they didn't deserve the Citrus Bowl, but because of how things had worked out, like they probably should have been in Tampa that year. But I think Iowa had just gone to the Citrus Bowl, or Michigan had just gone to the Citrus Bowl, so they couldn't. So they actually, in that instance, probably leveled up one game as opposed to where they were. So it has happened in reverse as well. I think even the Holiday Bowl year, they leveled up a little bit from where they were at 8-4. I don't think they fell. That was such a weird year with the boycotts, and everybody was mad because of how that the schedule, how they ended up losing some games they shouldn't have. So it's happened in reverse. But just this one, to me, Chip, it was more just that with 2 weeks left to go in the season, everybody kind of,
you knew the outcome.
They were resigned to it. No matter what happened. And that frustrates me. That part of it frustrates me, especially because theoretically, if we have just been to Nashville in the 2000s, then what do we say about when we went to Phoenix, 3 years ago? Like,
well, I do find that funny. I mean, I don't know if funny is whatever, but I heard it again, like not too long ago. It's like, they've been to Nashville a lot. It's like, well, not really. I mean, I guess technically yes, but not recently. I mean, it's been, I think, so 2003 was my first year. They went to Sun Bowl. Next year they went to Music City, and then the next year they went to Music City. So I think 2005, right? Was that the last time? Was that the Virginia game? Because it was we went Sun Bowl, Oregon, and then was it Arkansas, Music City, and then Virginia 2005? Was that right? I think that's what it was. Yeah.
So anyway.
I'm pretty sure that was the order, if my memory
I'm trying to fight the fight. I'm trying to fight the fight. Burnsy, I know you're with me.
It's just it's sad that we just get resigned to, even if they would have won Northwestern, that they'd still be in this bowl. And it's just like, you would have had the argument to be in the same discussion as, again, Illinois and Iowa, and maybe things would have gone different. But I just think we've seen the story too many times to think the ending's going to be any different.
This is the 20-year anniversary of the last time the Gophers have been to the Music City Bowl, 2005. They lost to Virginia 34-31. I think Lawrence Maroney said on the field, "I'm heading to the NFL," if I remember right. After
it took him
like
10 seconds after the game to announce he was declaring. Yeah, and if you remember, I remember distinctly that was the week where the coaches' contracts were going to be up, and there was debate whether they were going to re-sign Mace and his contract, and we didn't know, was this going to be the last game they were coaching? Remember, they coached the game. It was a just terrible game. Go home the next day, and that's when they give Mace the extension the very next day after they were home.
That's right.
And then that's the year I went to that's the year I went home. Next day I left for the Fiesta Bowl. It was Ohio State, Notre Dame, because we had Laurinaitis and Mark LaVore playing in it. And then the next day I flew to the Rose Bowl and did the Rose Bowl with Texas and USC with Reggie Bush and Vince Young. What a week that was. 3 bowl games in a week. Oh my gosh. Can I go back to those days? I love that.
We couldn't get you to the Chip Lane Bowl. We couldn't get you to the Chip Lane Bowl 2 years ago. It's unfortunate.
Oh, no.
It's unfortunate. All right. Anything else you guys want to get to before we sign off here? We went deep again on some things I didn't intend to, but we've got time to get into some other stuff.
Yeah, we got Heisman talk next week. We get a bunch of other things. I do want to say before we get out of here, for those of you who do have a dog, I lost my my best boy.
Oh yeah,
oh no, man.
Sorry about that.
Sorry to hear that.
But if you got a dog and you're listening to this, in the honor of my guy Diesel, if you don't mind going home or when you see them next, giving them a couple of dad pats and telling them they're a good boy. So that's all I got before we get out of here.
Sorry to hear that.
Well, I mean, I was going to make a bunch of jokes now at the end, and now it's, not really fitting. Not really fitting. JW Marriott, Camelback. I can't bring that up again. I'm going to have her take a photo of when she goes hiking on Christmas Eve while we're doing media stuff and send it to you. She might. I do want to add, by the way, Army Navy's this weekend. And if you can't sit down and watch the whole game, watch the Open that they do on CBS, because they always do something really unique to kind of set the stage and the scene for why the game is important. A lot of times it involves parents. And I'll watch, if ever I'm just like around, I'll just start YouTubing them from like the last 10 years. And then I'll just be heave crying by myself. Just
waterworks coming out of your eyes. Yeah.
But as a guy who's been to 6 or 7 of them, I want to say we were lucky that we were part of the Radio Row stuff with USAA when they kind of reemphasized this game and tried to give it the importance that it deserves. Because it used to be, kind of by itself and, CBS, the whole bit. Well, now every game's on TV, right? So they've done a million things to put more spotlight on it, including bringing it to their own weekend on CBS with nothing around it. And people always say it's on your bucket list, their bucket list, and I say it should be. And make sure you get there one time and spend a couple days in the town, because to me the build up to it is almost better than the game. Like, just be around the city, especially if it's in Philadelphia, and just watch. And just be around, and you'll feel better. You'll feel better about where we're going as a country in general. Like, everything feels crazy and chaotic all the time, right? But then you go there and you're like, we'll be good. Like,
we're in good hands.
People, like, you see the people that are in the Army now or the Navy now or retired or whatever, and but then you learn some of the stories about the players that are playing and where they come from and what they're doing, and you're like, yeah, we'll be good. Like, we'll figure it out. If these are the people protecting us, and the best line I heard was the late John Feinstein, who wrote a great book, The Civil War, about Army Navy and went to every Army Navy game. He said, every person on the field on Saturday has signed up to die for the country. Wow. That's what they've signed up for. And as he says, they don't want to, they'd rather not, but they've signed up for it. And so I think to me, it's worth everybody's time. And we've all got stuff going on Saturdays. I get it. It's a busy time of year, but try to find a minute or two, certainly to watch the Open. And then and by the way, the football's been good the last 10 years too.
Yeah. Good
like
team,
both teams have been pretty consistent. Jeff Munkin's done a great job there. Like when we first started going, they hadn't won in like over a decade, and we were there when they won it. And it was one of the top 5 moments ever to be on the field. Oh, good for me. When Munkin rolls down to the cadets and goes crazy at the end of it. It's just like, I get goosebumps even just thinking about it, how cool it was.
I get goosebumps listening to you talk about it.
Yeah.
As long as I've been in college football, that is number 1 on my bucket list, and I hope before I die I get to go to a game.
It should be. Have Amy get in your Delta app, and get you a flight, because it is. I say, when people say that, I go, it should be, and I think you'll love it. And it's just it's really cool. It's really cool, and it's to be. We talk about this with Gopher rivalry games. To be a part of something that's been going on for 130 years. That you can read the program, and that's a program you should get too. And I have like 10 of them somewhere. And they have a little synopsis about every game that's ever been played between the two service academies. And they used to do it home and home, and then they put it in. It was in Philly, and then it's been DC, and they've moved it around a little bit. And then obviously when there was a war, they couldn't do it. And there was a couple times where the academies were pissed at each other, and they couldn't do it. Like, there's still some real college football stuff in there, like pettiness.
Yeah,
but to just leaf through and all the presidents that have been at the games, and it's just. I can't say enough about it, and I hope people take a minute to watch it, or at least be aware of it. And if you can make it, you will not be disappointed. You will not be disappointed. So that's my speech. Burnsy, sorry about your dog.
Yeah. Hey, man, that was a heck of a run to end there. Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah.
I'm sorry about your dog. I'm sorry about downtown Phoenix, and I'll see you then.
Horrible time in Phoenix. Golly. I can't wait. By the way, do you think there'll be a place open? Because when are you getting down? Are you getting down Christmas?
I don't know that yet. It's to be determined.
There's got to be a bar open in the Phoenix area the night before. Right?
Downtown?
On Christmas Eve?
I don't know.
Or excuse me, on Christmas, I should say. We'll figure that out so everybody can come tell Gaardsy how nice he looks with his. Are you going to be wearing that flannel you were out in Eugene wearing?
Maybe. We'll see what the temperatures are in late December in Phoenix. I'm not exactly sure. But yeah, Jack's Cafe, jaxcafe.com. Speaking of holidays, breakfast with Santa's, a couple of more Saturdays there. jaxcafe.com to learn more. Holiday parties, still time to do that. Date night, brunch, whatever you want, Jack's Cafe has it. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't. We love people that are checking in on YouTube and leaving comments. Subscribe on social media or follow us on social media. And tell the Gopher for Life that we are here. We will talk to you next week on the Pair and a Spare podcast.